We took some time, but we're finally fucking here, yeah? And boy, are we ready to have a good fucking time with you tonight? Are you ready to have a good time? Are you ready to sing?
What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're doing very well. I'm going to cut to the chase. Let's do this as quickly as possible. Today's the 24th of September. Polaris are playing their first ever gig in Dublin today. Not just Dublin, in Ireland today. And that's coinciding, funnily enough, with my first ever metal show. I can't say metalcore. I keep f***ing this up. With my first ever metalcore show. And I know it's probably hard to believe, Drew, how is this your first metalcore show? You've been covering metalcore bands, deathcore bands, and progressive bands. Like, how is this possible? But Ireland is kind of a band that... Ireland's kind of a country that gets bypassed by a lot of these bands because logistically, I can see why it doesn't really make sense to show up here, because one country out of the way, it's not like on mainland Europe, and logistically it doesn't really make the most sense. But of course, we'd love to have more shows. That is partly the reason as to why I wanted to create this vlog, because I understand that Ireland, although we don't get the most shows, there's still countries that are way worse off that always message me, and there's people in my community that live in Timbuktu who are like, Drew, we don't get any country. Why am I mixing up bands with countries? We don't get any bands coming anywhere near us. So I was like, well, isn't it nice that I can actually create a vlog style video to make it feel like people are coming along with me? So that's what I want to create. But that comes with some problems, because it's not as simple as just me showing up and bringing this bad boy, because obviously mosh pits and shit happen, and I don't want it to break because it costs quite a bit of money. So I got in touch with someone from Sharpton Records who's been very helpful. I won't name them. Jessica, shout out to Jessica. I've just named them, sorry. But Jessica's been extremely helpful. Sent me on to someone in Nuclear Blast Records. I think that's where they are. But anyway, I won't name that person because I don't know them that well. But they've been extremely helpful as well. And they've been constantly back and forth with me trying to get in touch with Polaris's tour manager, which is pretty much where we're at the moment. But the last slither of hope I have, because again, it is now 3 p.m. The gig starts in 4 hours. For me to get this in, I need someone that's going to let me in. And that person could well be the lead vocalist of Polaris, Jamie Hales, who messaged me as they touched down in Ireland a few hours ago, and has basically just said he's going to try and get in touch with his tour manager and see if he can get me through. So we're still waiting to hear back, but the time is ticking. So I'm going to assume that we can pull something off here and actually get access. So what I'm going to do is right now, I'm going to go to my friend's house who has a camera bag. Let's see if this even becomes a video. Right, we're going to get this camera bag, guys. Jamie's messaged me back. I haven't yet opened it, but I'll open it now in a sec. I don't know if he's gotten confirmation yet. Don't fall, camera, please. Yeah, I've been dying to do some vlog style videos like this, but obviously, like I mentioned at the start of the video, there isn't a lot of opportunities in Ireland because there's not a lot of gigs that I'm that interested in going to see. So when a band does rock around that I'm interested in, obviously I want to go and see it. So I'm going to stop filming before I die. So we'll catch up when I've read Jamie's message and see where we're going. And just like that, as you can see, or at least from what I'm guessing, I have all area access. Now this is going to be very awkward if that's not what that means, but AAA, all area access in context would make the most sense. So looks like I'm all clear. I can kind of relax a little bit now because, you know, I was like, do I bring my camera? Do I just go and enjoy the show? Because technically I've gotten my ticket. I paid for a ticket well in advance when the show was first announced anyway. And then I was like, you know, maybe I'll try and actually make something out of this event and, you know, do some footage for it and hopefully make a vlog out of it. So it's been a bit chaotic over the last while, but now I think I'm all right. I have my general access ticket, so I'm just going to queue as normal. and then obviously maybe try and speak to someone to say, hey look, I should be on this like all area access list. Hopefully get like some kind of a badge, just so at least I can make my way through different spots so I'm not getting pulled every 2 seconds. So yeah guys, we can chill out now. I've got to say it, leave a like in the video if you enjoyed this kind of content. I would be absolutely ecstatic to do more content like this. Obviously there's not a lot of bands that come to Ireland in the first place, but maybe with a few more of these videos, you know, maybe there's be some incentive for bands to start coming here. I don't really know. I'm just doing it for fun regardless. But obviously if we can get more bands to come to Ireland, I'd be happy to speak to anyone in the management team or anyone in the bands and see if we can arrange something like that. Again, I don't like putting the camera in people's faces. I just like to kind of document my experience, because I know everyone's really busy and they're doing their own thing on the day, and the last thing they want is some little nerd like me coming over and be like, hey dude, want an interview? So I stay away from all that shit. Obviously if I can meet the guys, fantastic stuff, but you know, we'll see what happens guys. Leave a like in the video, make sure you're subbed. Things are going to get weird from here on in. Maybe I'll have a drink to celebrate, who knows? Right, so just arrived in Dublin city centre and the weather looks like it's slightly easing up, so I have a bit of a window to try and get to the venue as quick as possible. The doors opened about 15 minutes ago, so I am technically late, but I don't know who is supporting Polaris, I'm not gonna lie. I think they might be 2 local bands, so if I can catch some of them, that would be absolutely excellent, but I'm not banking on it. I don't know how long it's gonna take me to get there, and if the buses are slow, I could be a little bit So guys, I managed to arrive at the venue. I got my access pass and I managed to make it in time for Envisions. Now I don't know if there was a band on before Envisions, so apologies that, you know, if I missed you. I don't know if there was. It could have just been Envisions, but normally from any show I've been to, there's at least 2, you know, supporting acts. So maybe it was just the one. Not entirely sure again. But anyway, these guys came on and as you can see, I'm in like the upper tier. I don't know if it's very visible from the 30mm lens that I'm using right now, but it was kind of an opportunity for me to pick out good locations and scout different spots that I could actually get some good clips for Polaris when they come out. So I did kind of use Envisions as an opportunity to, you know, get some clips, and, you know, I did actually get a chance to listen to them, and they do sound like a band that I'd be really into. You know, they have a really fun, bouncy metalcore style, some big call outs, some fun riffs. So this is their intro, so I figured we just play this before we get into the Polaris clips, because these guys, you know, were quite impressive, and the crowd seemed to really like them as well. They seem to have quite a few fans. Apologies for the shaky footage here. Again, I'm like only in the door here. I'm not a professional videographer or cinematographer by any stretch. I had a bit of what's the word, imposter syndrome going around with a camera and like all my badges and shit as if I'm someone important, but it was still a pretty sick experience and I learned quite a lot if I ever do it again, you know. Bit of showmanship, we love to see it. Yeah, they have that kind of like airy metalcore sound as well. You can hear there's a nice air to it. It's kind of like Invent Animate's earlier stuff. Nice easy groove to follow. But yeah, that is Envisions and they were fantastic. So let's talk about this clip a little bit. I'm gonna pause it a little bit. So as you can see here, this is Polaris are now on stage, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit nervous, a little bit shy. I don't feel very comfortable going around and like showing the access badge, because again, I'm not like a part of traditional media, and there's guys there that I'm assuming work for the teams that are like professional photographers who probably do that for a living. Of course I don't. I'm a content creator, you know. I do YouTube videos for a living, and although I do use cameras and stuff, I wouldn't know how to shoot in a live setting whatsoever. So all the clips you've seen so far in the intro, although some of them might be edited together in a decent way, I think there's probably a lot I can learn from this, and I'm very excited to kind of maybe do something like this again, because even like my shutter speed, I could notice certain things while I was recording and I just didn't really know how to fix them. So a bit of an amateur thrown into somewhat of a like professional situation, but this is when I'm at the side stage and I'm allowed to go, if you guys can see here. So this is obviously where the security guys are at the front. That's obviously like a photography pass section. So I can actually go there as well. And I really wanted to go there at the start, but again, not really that confident. So this video here that you're about to watch kind of boosted my confidence a little bit, which is, you know, we'll get onto it again. But this is purely because of Jamie kind of giving me that like boost and reminding me that like, okay, although I do have that like imposter syndrome a little bit, I do somewhat belong here. You know, I'm not here for no reason at all. But, you know, you have that little inner voice that just says like, what the f are you doing here? Who do you think you are? Like, I should be in the crowd. But anyway, so as you can see, Jamie is just over here and he's just taking a break between a song. And I didn't actually notice at the time because I was obviously looking at the camera, but you can see that he spots me as he's taking a drink. So if you watch Jamie there, he takes a sip and then he kind of like stops, points at me, and I still don't really notice he's coming over to me at this point. And we haven't like met at this point. We've only ever spoken on Instagram, and you can see he walks over my direction and I'm still kind of just like, because he'd been over this side a few times and he'd just been grabbing stuff. So I was kind of like just assuming maybe we'll chat after the show. I'm not going to annoy the guy, you know, he's done enough for me already. So he basically, I'll just let the clip play.
What's up, buddy? Yes, buddy. All right. Nice to meet you, man. Yes.
So I don't know what the f I said there because it's a bit of a mumble jumble. I sound like Barney Gumble there. I was like, I think I said like, what's happening, pal? Nice to see you. Nice to meet you. And he just said, it's good to see you. So that caught me off guard a little bit because again, I was just looking through the camera lens and I didn't actually see him approaching until he was like right on top of me. And then I was like, you know, when you get caught off guard a little bit and you're like, oh. And then basically when Jamie did that, I'll let the clip play a little bit further.
Yes. What's up, pal? All right. How's things?
So then this guy, I won't like freeze frame on him because like, you know, I don't know if he wants to be on the video, but basically I don't know if it was just prompted when Jamie came over to me. I'd say he probably looked at what Jamie was doing and then maybe seen me, and he just said, he called my name. You can't really hear it in the video. I don't know if you can.
Yes.
But anyway, he calls my name. I'm not going to freeze frame him. I've kind of half freeze framed him here, so apologies, bro. But anyway, yeah, he just basically said, called my name, Drew, and then he had his hand out and I went over, knuckle touch, and he just said, love the channel. So that was really, really cool. It was probably just prompted because maybe Jamie came over. But that whole little moment there, as like egotistical as it sounds, gave me a little bit more confidence in the event to just like go and do my thing a little bit more. So I then moved forward into the like front of the stage to go and get some better shots, which we'll look at in a moment. But that was just like a really cool thing that Jamie did for me. He didn't have to acknowledge me at all, you know, he could just give me a little nod, but like walking across the stage mid-set, I know he's not in the middle of a song, they're all changing over, and just acknowledging me, shaking my hand was like a really nice thing to do on his part. So yeah, confidence was a little bit up now, so I felt like I kind of belonged in the situation slightly more. I still, from a technical standpoint, knew I didn't belong there at all. But just from that, you know, the overall warm feeling of him coming over and acknowledging me just gave me a little bit of a boost of confidence to allow me to go on and do the rest of what I've done for the rest of the night, you know. So let's move on to the next clip. So this here was a lovely, almost ballad-esque moment. I believe this was right after they had a quick word about Ryan. Obviously, rest in peace, Ryan. I'm not going to go into all that again, but maybe we'll talk a little bit more about that at the end when I wrap things up. But this was obviously quite an emotional part of the set. You know, everyone has their phones in the air, so I'll just play this one as well. This is a beautiful part of the set. Again, I was still trying to like readjust where I was standing. This isn't the best shot. I probably should have been using the wider angle lens, but I was also at an angle looking down on them, so it was just a bad combination of lenses and angles. I only had two lenses. I had the 13mm with me and the 30mm. You're looking at the 30mm at the moment, so probably should have been 30mm or 13, sorry. It's irrelevant, no one gives a but professional videographer here, Jesus Christ, I'm like this. But there was like a banister kind of stopping me from getting a good angle, so I had to almost like go over the ledge and bring the camera down. Again, the angle was just all wrong with the 30mm, or the 30mm, sorry, I keep getting them mixed up. So part of me looking at everyone in the crowd would have loved to just have been involved, because although I'm not working and it is great to get access, I'm sure people will be like, oh, I'd love to be able to get access that I was getting. But ironically, when I'm in that position, as cool as it is, it's quite isolated. Now, it's different if I was actually working, you know, properly, you know, that's just my job. But obviously I was going to the event anyway, but then I wanted to create content, which, to be fair, I've thoroughly enjoyed making this video so far. It's been so much fun. But there's part of me that would have been able to love to go twice, to like live it twice, where I can go and do all of the stuff that I've gotten so far for it, but then also get to go into the pits and everything, because it just was crazy. Any of the like prog bands that I've seen in Dublin have been very tame in terms of pits. Like the venues haven't really allowed for any crazy like you know, mosh pits or anything of the likes. So this event was very much so more catered to a, you know, maybe crazier audience. So that was pretty fun to see. But part of me would have loved to get involved because some of the tunes were just like banging, man. There's some of the Polaris tunes I haven't heard in a while, and when they came on live I was like, yeah man, and honestly, I was a Polaris fan before this, but the expectations or the levels to this band has just gone through the roof. People have been huge on this band for so long, but maybe it's just now because I've met the guys and they've been so accommodating, but also just from a musicianship standpoint, seeing them all play live, how well they control the crowd, it was absolutely phenomenal. But we'll move on to the next clip because I'm waffling. So yeah, this is what I meant by this is the 13mm lens. This just works better for this angle. Obviously it's just getting everything in. It's a little bit less cinematic, but you know, you can see the drums, you can see everything. Yeah, like just the energy that Polaris brought for the entire night was just fantastic. So here we go. Oh, I don't know if it was this one, but it might have been that. Sorry, that's a rough pause for you, Dan. I'm sorry, but so he might, yeah, oh, he's clocked me. Oh, the double take. All right, so now he's very angry with me, Dan. I don't know what I did to you. I'm sorry, bro, but oh, so all right, so he clocks me, right? So he clocks me, and I'm kind of thinking that he clocked me a bit because we haven't like seen each other at all at this point, and to be honest, I've never spoken to Dan before, so as far as I'm concerned, he doesn't know who I am. And this was a pretty fun moment. So he kind of like sees me, and I maybe spot it. And I was like, did he see me? Because, you know, that was quite an obvious glare, especially because I thought he wanted to murder me with that stare. But he sees me. He's got, the seed has been planted in his mind. Unreal. I love that. So he's seeing the camera and he's like, right, all right, I'm going to pretend I didn't see it. And then he goes straight into it, so that was sick. What's up, buddy? So then he acknowledges that I was there. So that was probably my favorite clip. Now there's a lot of cool moments that I have that I'll share with you guys over the next few minutes, but I really enjoy that one from Dan. And this shot is sick because it doesn't really require much explanation as to why this is sick, but I'll just let you play it. Like this is a fairly privileged position to be in, let's say the least. Yeah, I mean, that one explains itself. So this clip here just speaks for itself again. Jamie's vocals were absolutely insane last night. It was ridiculous. So this is just a great example of how good his vocals are. As you can see, crowd are absolutely lapping it up. So this is probably my favorite guitar clip of the entire set, and this is Jesse Crofts of Wind Waker, who is stepping in as lead guitarist for Polaris on their tours. Now I don't know how long this is going to be a thing for, but my god, this guy was absolutely unbelievable. Now naturally I was in the middle and he was kind of like center left, so I was just closer to him a lot, so a lot more of the footage that I have from a guitar standpoint is of Jesse. But my goodness, just watch this. This is the solo in Inhumane, which is again off of Fatalism. This was phenomenal. The crowd loved this as well. Like that makes me want to play the guitar right now. I'm pretty sure he's 26, which is my age, which makes me very sad considering I can't even do one bar of that entire solo. But yeah, that guy was an absolute animal, and I mean, you don't really get a much better view of a solo than this. A part of this clip is actually funny because I turned to get some shots of the crowd, and as I turn around, I'll just play the clip. So So right, in that you can hear me laughing and then saying yes, because I'm like, what the f just happened? So I'm recording the crowd and I didn't see it obviously, but I can only assume it was Jamie, but someone did that to my head. So you turn around and it's this guy doing this to me. So, I mean, I can only assume it's Jamie. So, yeah, I mean, again, the guy just, he's a class act. He's a class act. He's having a lot of fun on stage. And the fact that he's kind of even thinking of involving me somehow is fantastic, because obviously me wanting to make content, he's just a content machine. So he understands. So that was fantastic. So yeah, that's the clip there again. And you don't get much better shots than that, like. But yeah, I mean, I could sit here all day and show you guys all of the clips that I've gotten, but we will not do that. So yeah, that is pretty much all the clips I have, or I'm going to share. I have so many more, but we could be here all day, and I don't know how long this video is going to be. But to sum it all up, at the end of the show, I was pretty much just prepared to leave, because I didn't want to be that guy who, you know, waits around. And not that there's anything wrong with waiting around, but I didn't want to like stand side stage or backstage like waiting to get a picture or just say hello to the guys. So I was going upstairs to grab all my stuff, and I noticed that Jamie was back on stage, and I just happened to be above him grabbing my stuff, and I just said, hey Jamie, what's going on, man? And then I just said, we were kind of like talking for 2 seconds over the barrier, and I ran down to him, and then we just had a quick chat, and there was a really nice moment. I won't go into too much detail, and this is what I was referring to earlier when I was, you know, saying that we'd bring up Ryan again. You know, Jamie kind of started speaking to me, and he was really nice, and the guy wears his heart on his sleeve, and I can really appreciate that. He just seems like a really down-to-earth, like, real guy, and I'd known that from all of my interactions up until that point, but it's only when you kind of meet someone in person that you really get an idea of what they're like, because, you know, there's definitely a lot more he can do for me than I can do for him, so it's not like he's even trying to get something out of it, you know what I mean? So the guy's an absolute class act. But basically, I was down in that place that I showed you guys in front of the stage, the photographer area, and he was kind of like on a knee, you know, just above me, chatting down, and he brought up the fact that I'd reacted to the Mortal Coil album. And at the start of that album, if you guys have seen it, the album reaction, which is on YouTube, I did a bit of a like tribute, because Ryan had just passed away, you know, like a week or so or a few days before that. And I was very skeptical about whether or not I wanted to do a reaction, because funnily enough, someone had actually requested via my Patreon to check out the Mortal Coil as Ryan had passed away. It was actually like the day before, which is kind of crazy, and I have the receipts for that. Like, it's 100%. They had asked for it like a few days before he passed. So I was kind of like, right, do I just wait until the whole situation dies down, or do I like share the moment with everyone? I know some people will say, you know, you're jumping on it for attention or whatever. I was very aware of that possibly being something that might come out with it, but I wanted to take the opportunity to kind of share one of his projects with my audience and have somewhere that people can come together and, I guess, respect his name. So to bring that all back, that's obviously just one thing. But Jamie messaged me originally about that, and that's how we had originally started talking. And he brought that up again at the show, and he just basically said like how emotional he had gotten and how much he really appreciated that video. He was saying that he had tears watching the video. So like, that was just like, you know, that was so nice of him to even just share that. Like, he didn't need to share that and get that vulnerable with me, you know, on stage. Now granted, there was very few people left in the venue at this point, but you know, he really didn't need to get vulnerable with me at all. So we had a nice chat about that. Again, I didn't want to keep them too long. I was only speaking to Jamie at the time. I don't know any of the other band members. I didn't up until that point. It was just Jamie that I'd been in contact with. So I just said, can we grab a quick picture, Jamie? Then he, I think, assembled the rest of the band. I don't know if they just happened to see that we were getting a picture, or if Jamie kind of, you know, said like, lads. So that was even more unbelievable, that he like summoned the rest of the band. And then I just quickly chatted to the lads, and, you know, they were all as happy to see me by the looks of things as I was to see them, which was, you know, amazing. Now, I'm sure there was an element of, you know, who the fuck is this guy? But at the same time, they were asking about the channel, and it was just a few nice words exchanged. So it was really nice, and the guys are just so down to earth. And they did kind of offer to go for a drink after the event. But they said that they were packing up and leaving to Belfast that night as well. They only had like 2 hours or so, and they said that they can't really guarantee that they're going to be going for something. So if I wanted to wait around, then I could. But I didn't want to be that guy. I was very happy to see the show, chat to them for a few moments, and let them go and do their thing, because I'm sure they have so many different people dragging out with them at every single event they go to. So yeah, guys, that was the end of my experience at the Polaris event, and it has made me very excited to go to a lot more events. And yeah, if you do enjoy this style of video, I kind of just gave up on the whole 4K thing towards the end of this. It's all 1080p now because it's just so much effort to click record and then sync up the audio with the microphone. So yeah, maybe I'll get a more efficient system at some point. But yeah, guys, that is all from me. Again, I want to say a massive thank you to not just Jamie, but every single person involved in the night last night from Polaris. Absolute legends. Like, I can't thank them enough. The most hospitable, is that the word? Insane hospitality is the best way to describe it. I felt like I was, you know, being welcomed into their country, even though they were coming into mine. So absolute gentlemen, insane musicianship, but what defines them more for me is how nice they are as people. So yeah, guys, that is all from me. Again, if you liked the video, leave a like in the video, make sure you're subbed. Go and stream Fatalism as well, guys. Legends. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers. Ah, yeah.